Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. So I suppose with Black Friday fast approaching, it's kind of appropriate that in today's Tier 7 ranked battle, here on the New Dawn map, Domination Mode, it's only appropriate that Boydie 73 here is in the Black Fleet version of the USS Sims. I think this was the first premium US Navy destroyer to be introduced into the game. And it was very, very early on in the game's life cycle, possibly even as early as closed beta. I mean, it was more than 9 years ago now. Forgive me if I don't remember the precise details, but I do remember being very impressed with the USS Sims when it was first introduced. It gave us all a taste at Tier 7 of what the American Tier 9 and 10 destroyers, the Fletcher and the Gearing, were going to be like, specifically the guns. At first glance, you could be forgiven for thinking that the Tech Tree US Navy Tier 7 destroyer, the USS Mayhan, is a superior gunboat, because both ships have comparable rates of fire, very fast, and the Mayhan has one extra gun. It has 5, whereas the Sims only has 4. Where the Sims wins out, though, is in dogfighting, because it has twice the turret rotation speed of the Mayhan. In a close-range knife fight, the Mayhan will often outturn its guns and be unable to keep them trained on the target. The Sims has no such problems. The Sims is also extremely manoeuvrable, with a turning circle of only 500 metres, which Boydie is going to need very, very soon. Because while the Sims does have slightly better concealment than Mayhan, it's still not particularly good, and fairly typical of mid-tier American destroyers. I mean, it's not disastrously bad concealment. He's not French or Russian, but he's always going to get outspotted by a British destroyer like the Jervis over there. So there goes his first charge of smoke. He's doing the hippie shake. He's about to run into the island, but it's fine, he's undetected. Actually, he's not going to run into the island. He can afford to slow. The smoke is blocking line of sight between himself and the Jervis. Launching the torpedoes. Oh yes, the torpedoes. Yeah, it's not all great news with the Sims. I mean, the Mayhan has pretty bad torpedoes. The best torpedoes on the Mayhan are the worst torpedoes on the Benson. With the Sims, even though it's a premium, you do get a choice of torpedoes. Both are equally bad. You can choose the Bliss Leave-It torpedoes, which have a range of 10.5 kilometers, allowing you to torpedo from outside of your detection range. Yep, you can stealth torpedo in this thing. The downside is, well, there are two downsides. They only do 9.6k damage per hit, and they have a speed that's measured in kilometers per day, not kilometers per hour. The Bliss Leave-It torpedoes only have a speed of 49 knots. Yes, there are ships that can outrun these torpedoes. There's actually a couple of ships that can outrun these torpedoes. The other torpedoes are significantly faster. The Mark 15 Mod 0 torpedoes have a speed of 65 knots, which, I mean, it's not fast, but it's definitely not slow. Actually, there was a time when 65 knot torpedoes in this game were considered fast. There was a time when the Sims was considered something of an overpowered destroyer, but, well, you know, the game's moved on and that ship has sailed. The downside, of course, with the Mark 15 torpedoes, even though they do more damage, it's not much more damage, just 2,000 more damage per hit than the Bliss Leave-Its, they only have a 7-kilometer range. Which means, if you've got a 10-point captain with a concealment expert skill, and you can't fit a concealment module to this ship because it's Tier 7 and you can't get that until Tier 8. It is nevertheless technically possible to stealth torpedo with the Mark 15s. It's just not practically possible, because you only have like a 400-meter window of stealth opportunity to get the torpedoes away, and by the time you've launched them and started turning, you're detected. Still, I suppose that does mean that the Mark 15s are the better choice of the two bad choices of torpedoes available to the Sims, because, well, the Sims is quick and manoeuvrable. Only has that 500-meter turning circle, so if you're going to get detected when you launch the torpedoes, you've got a pretty good chance, if you're any good, of being able to do the old hippie shake and successfully dodge any incoming return fire. Although it is going to be close range fire, because remember, those torpedoes do only have a 7-kilometer range, so Yeah, you're going to be uncomfortably close to the people who are taking objection to your launching torpedoes at them. This, of course, is where the smoke screen comes in handy. Oh, look, it's a Mayhan. Kill it. Kill it with fire. Also, don't be lurking around inside the smoke screen. Unless the Mayhan has, of course, already launched his torpedoes, and there was a torpedo warning indicator off to the right of the screen there. So, well, I mean, Boydie might be safe hiding inside the smoke screen, but he might not. So, best not to take any chances. Anyway, friendly Ashitaka's taking the Mayhan down. Getting some harassing fire out on the Caracciolo. Maybe get lucky, set a fire. Do a little bit of damage. I mean, they are only 5-inch guns after all. There's some remarkably... Look at that. Yep. That was pretty good. I'm pretty sure that was from the Caracciolo. Oh, and he scored 2 torpedo hits. Yeah, I think he's using the Bliss Leave It torpedoes. You know, the really, really slow ones. Because that was only about 5,000 damage per hit, which is terrible. But, well, that's the Bliss Leave It torpedoes for you. They really do suck. The team are losing pretty badly, by the way. The enemy team have all 3 of the cap circles. Once again, the points are flipped at the top of the screen. It wouldn't be a wargaming product unless there was some kind of replay bug going around. Although the friendly Toulon has managed to sink an enemy cruiser. So they're ahead on kills, even if they're nowhere near being ahead on points. Now, I mean, these Bliss Leave It torpedoes are terrible. But the threat of the torpedoes appears to have provoked the Caracciolo over there into massively overcommitting. He's just ploughed a course straight through the middle of the Toulon and the Ashitaka over there, allowing them both to deliver a fearsome paddling. But there's a bit of a plot twist coming up here, because as the Caracciolo gets a shot off into the Toulon without sinking him, and the Toulon gets ready to finish off the Caracciolo, the torpedoes launched by the Chumfon earlier that the Toulon sank connect with the Toulon, earning the Chumfon a flesh wound award, but not before the Toulon manages to get the guns cleared and finishes off the Caracciolo. So there's a plot twist I did not see coming. So the team are still 1 kill ahead, but with still no cap circles, they're now nearly 300 points behind. And Boydie is still spotted, which is kind of alarming. Does that mean the Jervis is nearby? I mean, he might be. No, he's gone undetected. Okay, it has now been 20 seconds since he last fired his guns. It felt longer, but, well, he and the Ashitaka are now able to take the team's first cap circle, and they're going to need it, because I think the team are about to lose their Caracciolo. Yep. As the battle announcer just said, the enemy team are about to win, because they're now 430 plus points ahead, and the kills are even. They still have a 2 cap advantage, despite Boydie and the Ashitaka here managing to flip this cap down here at Charlie. Now, it's possible that Boydie didn't actually need to use the smoke screen here in order to get some shots out. Oh, he's having a go with the torpedoes again, bless him, at the Nagato. Because the Nagato does not have a line of sight to him, but he doesn't know where the Jervis is. Or he didn't know where the Jervis was when he popped the smoke, but the Jervis has now just popped up all the way over at the other end of the map, which is really, really bad news for the surviving West Virginia on the team. Ah well. Still, just on the off chance that somebody's aiming at the tracer coming out of the smoke screen, he's moving back and forth, which is never a bad thing to do. It's an American smoke, of course. So, is he actually going to get... No, of course he's not going to get a hit with these torpedoes. But yes, an American smoke. So it lasts forever, and it covers a wide area. He's been really unlucky to not actually get a fire on the Nagato. Actually, he hasn't had a single fire this entire battle, despite more than 100 gun hits on target, which does suggest that he's probably using the IFHE skill. The Nagato there, who's busy playing chasey, catchy, killy around the island with the Ashitaka. Some shots out at the West Virginia, who has gone down. Oh, no big surprise with all 3 of the surviving ships on the enemy team focusing him down. That's a very optimistic second set of torpedoes. I mean, even at this kind of range, with 49 knots. Whoa. Somebody's going to need to spot that Nagato. And when I say somebody, Boydie, I mean you. You're going to have to leave that smoke screen. But you're probably inside detection range. Yep, there it is. The good news is that with the Ashitaka catching up to him, the Nagato is unlikely to want to turn his guns around to fire at you, but you can still get hit by his secondaries. And, well, everybody actually know he is turning around to get the guns firing at you, even though he knows you've already launched your torpedoes. Well, this is great news for the Ashitaka. It's not such good news for you, though, Boydie, because the Nagato isn't the only one shooting at you. So's the Jervis, and so's the Sinop. And your smoke's on cooldown, and you've just run into an island. It's at moments like these when you can really use a teammate who knows how to prioritise targets. Boom! Headshot. Sinop down, courtesy of Duty Hero in the Ashitaka. Boydie is now down to 377 hit points with his engine and his steering knocked out, but hey, that's alright. I mean, he's not going anywhere anytime soon. He's going to be hugging this island like his life depends on it, because it does. Unfortunately, while the Ashitaka has now also taken out the Nagato, the Ashitaka's life probably depends on Boydie coming out to fight the Jervis. It's got its torpedoes away. Oh, this could be bad news for the Ashitaka. There is, however, this extremely convenient spit of land sticking out from the side of the island, which allows Boydie to lob shots at the Jervis undetected. That does not mean the Jervis does not know he's here, though. And the Jervis only has to get lucky once with his blind shots because he knows exactly where Boydie is. But Boydie's the one who gets lucky first, and despite the fact that the enemy team were still 300, actually nearly 400 points ahead, thanks to some sterling teamwork there between Boydie on 377 hit points and the Ashitaka, that's a victory for Boydie in The Sims B. The Ashitaka, of course, was the MVP. Although not by much, it's only 200 base XP ahead. Still extremely well done to the two of them. Not really a throw by the enemy team, despite their huge points lead. They just, well, basically got outplayed. So well done to Boydie 73 and Naga 1975 in the Ashitaka for a thoroughly well played game. Hope you all enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.